Hey guys, welcome to the weekly challenge live stream for Yousician. I'm Alexis, and I go by the name Alexis Yousician in the guitar learning app, Yousician. Each week, Yousician releases challenges of 2 songs in varying difficulty levels. Users compete for high scores on the leaderboards. Each Sunday, I play through all the songs on guitar and break each one down for you, so you can reach your goals faster and post higher scores. Hey guys. Wow, that's super annoying. Julian's mucking about. Yeah, so for some reason the other get my guitar neck in here so you can actually see. I don't know if you can really see that, but yeah, so for some reason the other stream wasn't working. Don't know. So I had to create a new one. So here we are. Hopefully you guys made it. Pretty annoying though, driving me crazy all morning trying to get it working. So yeah, we're up and running. Unfortunately, had to create a new stream. Blah 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 blah. So anyway, here we are. And let's get going with the Bluegrass Fever. A lot of people sort of didn't really like this one, and I will admit that there are some parts of it that are kind of boring. But that level 10 one is pretty tricky. Yeah, it's pretty tough. The cowboy chords and all this other stuff, yeah, pretty easy. I'll admit it's kind of repetitive and kind of boring, but here we are. Better luck next time. Anyway. Let's get to it. Cowboy chords. Let me change my tone here.
Keep on. Better slow down there, Hendrix.
Running out of stars. Okay, so putting things into perspective here. A lot of people have mentioned that it was a pretty easy challenge this week for the chords. So that was the first thing the first guitar I've played all day today. So that shows you how easy this challenge was. Now, I'm not saying that it should be more difficult or have you, but not a whole lot of change ups. So there wasn't really anything there that throws you up. If you know, throws up. If if you know your chords, you're probably going to be okay with that. I guess there was one sort of on-beat to off-beat kind of thing, at the end. Other than that, is there really anything all that difficult to this? Not really. But sort of a random thing. Did any of you notice that recently with one of the updates, the screen, like especially on the chord ones, like I'll go back into practice mode for this one. Did any of you notice that the chord blocks, like, well, actually not even the chord blocks, even the background, it jiggles? Looks kind of funny. Like, so if you're watching here, I don't know if you're picking it up over the stream, but I've asked other people and they said that it's doing the same thing, but the chord blocks are doing this weird jiggling thing, so kind of a little bit messes with your eyes a little bit, so a little bit strange. But yeah, I don't think there's really much to talk about with that one. Again, it's just pretty basic chords, all offbeat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Well, I shouldn't say on, but mostly, 99% of this thing is just offbeats. And then you get to here. So there's a bit of a switch up going into on beat there. What else? Yeah. So it just basically maintains until that part right there, where you have to go and 1 or and 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So yeah. So other than that, just chords. So I don't think there's really much to explain with that one. Let's see here. This is going to be a pretty fast stream for a couple of reasons. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter one because I have, and it was an hour early because I have some rehearsals to go to for where I work. We're having recitals, so we're having all the kids get together and do some rehearsals here. Later on, if I have time, actually, interesting. Someone else mentioned that there was, let's see if I can, maybe it's in another place here. Yes, so it just pointed out that, hey, there's couple of new, actually, I haven't even seen the tutorial ones, so that's new to me. I mean, maybe it was there before, but I hadn't noticed it. So there's that, a couple of new sections. I don't know if I'll have time to check that out today. As you can see, I didn't even know this existed till today. So, kind of neat. I'm glad that they added that. So, I don't know if I'll have time today, but this is going to be, I've already finished those 2. So, I'm going to do the fancy chords and maybe we'll have time to do that. But yeah, like I said, I'll have to bolt pretty fast at 11:30. So, anyway, let's try the fancy chord ones. Did a bit of a stutter there a couple of times, but I guess I didn't show the scores for the other one, but I imagine most of you will be having pretty good scores on that previous one. So this one, obviously, a lot of people have perfect scores on this one. This one's all about offbeats again. Yeah, a whole lot of perfect scores there. Or close to perfect scores. Yeah, not a whole lot going on with that one, just offbeats. So fairly quick offbeats, so that might be difficult. So yeah, and then there's a change up there. Where are you? This is a bit of a weird one. This is just holding the note instead of muting it. So, but you're still hitting on offbeats. Again, it's all about if you know your chords well. So here, a little bit of a change up. What do we got? Yeah, same thing. Offbeats, 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 and then that last little thing at the end. But there's a little bit of time here to get prepared for that. So not a whole lot. And then I'll show you the scores for this one. I'm sure many of you have perfect scores on this one as well. It shouldn't take that much effort to get a perfect score on that one there. Sometimes you'll have easy ones that actually are, like a level 4, level 5 or something like that, or even lower, that are a little bit more difficult than that one to get a perfect score. So that one is actually pretty easy. So I need to change my tone here, and then we can try this beast. Pretty tough one. This one here I actually had to spend quite a bit of time on practicing, even though I shouldn't even say quite a bit of time, but I really haven't had much time to play in the past couple of nights. So let me just switch up my tone here. And I haven't played this one today, so I have a feeling this is going to be pretty rough. Give me a few seconds here to reacquaint myself. Whoops. Let's try going to practice mode. You can't do that in performance mode. Here we go. Okay. Sort of coming back to me.
Well done. You can continue to the next.
Okay, so not bad for a first run. So this sort of shows you how much more work I need to do on this one. So Herman is about, you know, 6 or 7, well, 7 to 10, depending on how you're marking the scores, but I guess 10 more, maybe around 10 more perfects-ish, something like that, or more. But that one's going to take some work, so that was the first run. I'm okay with that. James popped in to say hello and then dropped out to see a movie. Kind of wish I knew what movie we was seeing. But thanks for saying that. This one's tough. I'll break it down and then I'm going to do another run. Maybe by then I'll be warmed up and actually get a decent run out of me. So what is this? What's going on? There's a couple things happening with this one here. This is one of those ones where it takes a while to sink in. Like, it's weird because, you know, last night I was practicing it and I got a couple of gold runs in a row with this one. And it just feels like the next day you pick it up, and you know, I'm sure many of you can relate to this. The next day I pick it up and it's just like, it feels like it's gone, like your fingers just don't do what you want them to do. So that's what's happening with this one for me, is that it's just going to take a few days before I can pick up my guitar and it's just there again. So yeah, I mean, it's like every day it's almost like I've forgotten, and my fingers have forgotten what to do. But then slowly it starts creeping back in, and slowly I start remembering, or the muscle memory starts coming back, and it just starts getting into my fingertips again. So these are, you know, mostly scale patterns, like basically based off the major scale, and then it switches to like a bit of a pentatonic run. So this part, that part there, it's like a pentatonic in E minor. So this one is really about, you know, how well do you know scales, right? So I mean, if you've practiced a lot of scale patterns, this one's going to be easy. So I've practiced tons of scale patterns, and I come up with more sequences all the time. More sequences, more scale patterns, just to make things more interesting and be able to play more interesting lines. So might want to take same thing, break this down, as I've said many times on other things. You know, get that down where it's just like nothing. I'm using 1, 3, 4. For you, it might be easier to go 1, 2, 4. That's the more common fingering to use. Second finger. So, I mean, I can do both, but I'm more comfortable with third depending on the situation. As soon as it gets to these lower frets, sometimes I switch to my second finger. But I can do both, and that's my default is third finger. But you're going to have to decide which finger works for you. And again, second finger is the most common. And then this one here. Same thing. So, and then it's just chaining them. So it's the same concept. And this is just the descending scale. And this part trips me up a lot. Bit of an awkward one. Again, breaking it down to its parts. Change up on the ending. Yeah, lots of repetition here. This one's pretty tough. A lot of string skipping, jumping around with your right hand. And this is basically pentatonic licks. You might want to get this part really good because these, pentatonic licks come back in song after song after song, in many different styles. It's just pretty much universal. Every style from blues to country to pop to metal, you'll play pentatonic licks. So pentatonic licks are pretty important to be able to do well. How do I do, question in the chat, how do I do hammer-on pull-offs? Hammer-ons are the easiest one because you're just... there's not a whole lot of hammer-ons in this section. This is mostly pull-offs, but I'll explain it. Oh, there we go. So hammering on, it literally is just whacking your finger down hard enough to make a note. So if I don't use my right hand, I'm just... it's literally hammering on. So that's what a hammer-on is. That's the easy one. A pull-off, a lot of people think of pull-off as just the opposite of a hammer-on, but you get quiet notes. Like if I do this, that's going to be a nice loud note. But if I do the opposite action, it's pretty quiet. Right? There's not a whole lot of volume there. So that is a mistake that a lot of people make, is that they try to do a pull-off the exact opposite action as a hammer-on. So actually what you're essentially doing is plucking the note. Okay, so I'm curling my finger and pulling toward the floor. So I'm doing this action. A lot of people do away from the fretboard. I'm going curling in toward the floor. So that's the biggest, one of the biggest mistakes that people make. So, and this technique, yes, I'm on an electric guitar, but this is the exact same technique I use on steel string, exact same technique that I use on classical. I've taken like 6 years worth of classical lessons, so it's the same thing. So yeah, so that's hammer-ons and pull-offs, regardless of what kind of guitar you're on. So anyway, getting back to this section here, there's some hammer-ons and pull-offs going on. So you're going to need that technique, and there's some awkward fingerings. This here, right out of the gate, being able to do... pretty tough. So I would probably do strict, make sure that that's a down and an upstroke on that one. So, and because of hammer-ons and pull-offs there, you don't really, it's not that crucial. It's slow enough that you could do all downstrokes, but I sort of half alternate, half sweep pick, and I'm not even entirely sure what I'm doing there, but it's slow enough that it doesn't really matter that much. This is probably for me, one of the hardest licks in the whole thing. So that pattern, it's just awkward. It's awkward and stretchy. So spend some time on that one. It's probably going to be one of the more difficult ones of the whole thing. It's just awkward. Anyway, and then that might be a little tricky to get the timing down. Going back and forth between two notes and alternate picking, it can be pretty difficult sometimes to get not, get any muffled notes. Again, kind of a tricky order of notes for the left hand. So, what else is there? Let's see. I'll repeat. And then we're back to the beginning. I think that's the whole song. So it's just like section A, section B, section A, section B. I think that's it. So, I mean, with dynamics, I mean, this part here, they take the volume down. I do that with palm muting. So, do you have to? Nah, not really. Not really in the sense of gold starring the song. Probably yes, in the sense of dynamics if you were performing it. So that's pretty much that one. I think that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go for another run here. Another run of the song. Hopefully I can get a better, a cleaner run of this. But no promises. So a cleaner run.
Almost perfect. Next time, you'll nail it.
Far off from my high score, though. But a cleaner run for sure. It's starting to come back to me. I'm going to do one more run, and then maybe talk about some, the other stuff that I was talking about, as far as, is there such a thing as practicing too much? As well as maybe even taking a look at some of those, at least take a look at some of the ear training. I don't know how interesting that would be, as far as watching, because I haven't even looked at it. So, but we'll see. I want to do one more run, if you can bear with that, and then, yeah, we will move on.
almost perfect.
Better
Next
run.
time, you'll nail it.
But still nowhere near my high score.
Better slow down there, Hendrix. So run.
Yeah. Tough one. I'm going to keep working on that because I think I can do better. Who knows? But yeah, tough one. Okay, so is it possible to... Whoops. Is it possible to practice too much? Pretty much yes, absolutely. I think when you hear people talk about practicing for hours and hours and hours and hours, you have to understand that there's different things that you're practicing, the different things that you're focusing on that allow you to do that. So there are certain elements, I should be more clear here, that there are certain elements that you can probably practice too much. And that's anything that is like mentally challenging, like anything that you feel mental fatigue. Those are the things that you can burn out. So this is the key to practicing a lot. A lot of people, they say that you want to practice more, but they find that after a certain amount of time, their brain just checks out. And if your brain checks out, there's no point in practicing because you're probably not going to remember any of it. It's probably not doing you any good. So how do you get more practice in when you get to that point where your brain just checks out? That's where I start practicing more technical stuff. So let's say you've practiced like ear training, or you've practiced trying to work on memorizing a song or whatnot, and your brain's done. There's just no way you can really focus. I take simple, really, really simple concepts and I work on my technique. So things that I already have memorized. Let's say you have a scale memorized, the pentatonic scale. So basically I would take that and I would put the metronome on and I would just practice through that kind of mindlessly, in the sense of I'm not thinking too hard other than trying to get clear notes and proper technique. But it's because I already have it memorized. I'm not thinking too hard. So it's not like mentally fatiguing. It's, you're just working on the physical mechanics. So there's not a whole lot of thinking, and therefore you don't really get a lot of mental fatigue. But you can still get a lot more practice in as far as the technical things. Then you don't even have to push your speed. You don't have to play super fast. Just doing something a lot is going to get it into your fingers more. And then, as it gets into your fingers more, you're going to develop speed, even without trying to be faster. Just getting that down. I mean, if you can do this, like I'm talking at the same time and I'm not looking at my hand. If you can do that, I mean, and you keep practicing that, that's just when you actually concentrate and you try to push your speed, you're going to be able to push your speed. Like, you're for sure going to be able to push your speed. Just because it's in your fingers a little bit better. So I would try to, as far as your practicing goes, don't go too much beyond, your threshold of what your brain sort of can handle. Like, as soon as your brain is sort of like cooked, so to speak, just stop. You're going to end up not having fun. So, just only go till, you feel like your brain is sort of done. And if you want to keep practicing, if you feel like, I have the time and I really want to improve, work on technique, work on simple concepts where there's not a whole lot of thinking, but you can just do a repetitive thing, and get the motions down. So, or just switch up, but don't stick on one thing. Don't be super stubborn with something. Just, again, if you put your guitar down at feeling frustrated, the next time it comes around to practicing, you're not going to want to practice, because that's the last thing you remember, is kind of hating playing. So you want to make sure you feel good when you put your guitar down. So how about we take a look at what's going on with this. So like I said, I haven't looked at it at all. So if this is pretty boring, or if it's not interesting, then I might jump ship. But let's take a look at what's going on here. Okay, so so this is basically the same concept as the other one. So I don't know if I'm going to do that. I guess this is just more the same. Yes, 0 of 8. I want to get out of here. There we go. This has been done before. Let's take a look. Oh no, note finder. Here we go. Is this new? Whoops. Yeah, let's take a look. So, okay, so. It's just the same 2 notes so far.
Great.
So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a good whoops. That's a good exercise. How do I get out of here? There we go. That's a really good addition. I'm pretty happy with them adding that. That's a really good idea for finding notes in hearing pitches. So there's actually quite a lot in here. So that's great. That's a really good addition. And I like the slider idea. That's great. Great way to implement that. So first I didn't quite understand what was going on, but that makes sense. Yeah, that's neat. I hope they add a lot more of these, because this is probably ear training is probably one of the most neglected things that people just don't do enough of. If you can hear things clearly, you're going to, and basically it's not just hearing things clearly, it's also having things organized in your head. So if you can name what you hear, if you understand what you hear before you even touch your guitar, even subconsciously, if those things are, even if you can't do it quickly, even if it's just sort of floating in like soup in your brain, you remember things a lot faster. Like, for example, if I take this, so without touching my guitar, it's going to go, so that's like a major second, and then it's going to go up a major second, da da da. So and then you're going to jump down a major third to the first note, da 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 da. So that's a major third down, and then you're going to go down a half step, which is a minor second, da 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 da. So that's going to be up a minor second, up a major second, down a minor third, and then it's going to go down a major second. So that is major second, up minor second, down minor third, and then down major second, down minor third, and then yeah, etc. You get the point. I'm not going to do the whole song, but that's how organized into my head that melody is. All right, so I could sit there and do that entire song and go and just call out what all those intervals are. So what are intervals? Intervals are just basically a relationship between one note to the other. So any 2 notes, that's an interval. That happens to be a perfect fifth. If I do this, that's another interval, another interval. So all of these different relationships are different intervals. So question in the chat: daily practice routine. Basically you want to break. How do you do a daily practice routine? Well, that is a little bit dependent on how far, where you are, as far as like how far along the line, in the sense of, how much you can handle. Like if you're a flat out beginner, you're not going to be able to handle hours and hours and hours of practice. So there's that. But, you want to have a little bit. If you're a flat out beginner, you could do like, and you're learning note reading, you can spend, X amount of time on note reading, X amount of time on, exercise. I would sort of think exercises, note reading, and working on your songs, if, whatever song that you're working on. And then again, further along, the more advanced you get, you could do your exercises could be broken up into, 4 different possibilities of exercises. You could do, like, your one section of exercising could be hammer-ons and pull-offs is one thing. Picking is another thing. String skipping, another thing. And sweep picking, another thing. Or your technique could be, your exercises could be barring one thing. So you could have 6, 10, 20 things in your exercise section. And then that doesn't even account for working on your ear, right? So you could do those same sort of concepts in the context of just learning, like, forget the bar chord, just any chord, and just learning the sound. Is that a major? And learning the sounds of different things. So there's ear training. There is scale practice. And then, problem spots in a song, you know what I mean? Like, so taking that song, I would have to, well, I have been working on the, no. So that kind of thing there. But I mean, I could go on and on and on. And the most important thing is going to be, again, having it organized, having an organized sort of routine where you are having it in sections. Okay, so don't just pick up your guitar and go, I don't know, and just play stuff. But also get some time in there for the song that you're working on, or even play a song that you already know that you can play from beginning to end, and try to make sure that make sure that you spend, try to end off your practice time with something you think is cool, or something that you think is fun. And if that means playing a song that you already know, go for it. If it, for me, I'm a bit weird. I love playing with a metronome, and I love playing scales. So for me, I love that. So for me, ending off on scales is a lot of fun. But I also like to end off on improvising. So that's another thing that I like to do. So it doesn't really matter, whatever it is. Make sure you end off on a fun note. So that's how I would sort of break down a practice schedule. And again, this is pretty, general, right? Every individual is going to break down their practice schedule to a more catered to themselves. So, right, let's do the bass. Let me mute and switch up, and we'll do the final bass song in this challenge, which isn't that difficult. And give me a second. All right, so here we go. Yeah, this one's not that hard. We'll see. close to perfect. Oh well.
Almost perfect. Next time, you'll nail it.
I need, like, so close to just getting that final, you know, only 1,000 off of getting a perfect score on that one. So this one here, how difficult is it? I think the hardest part is going to be those change up where it's like it switches to eighth note. So you have this pretty relaxed pace going on where you have time to really think about. So there's time in between to get ready for each note. And then all of a sudden you have this fast, it's not super fast, but you know, it's just that switch up of just going into, or I guess it's quarter notes, but feels more like 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 to me. But anyway, where are we going here? Yeah, right. For me, for a guy that doesn't have, you know, gigantic hands, this is a bit tough for me to get to that second fret. Not so much of that one, but the later right here. This one here, this really tires my hand out. It's the more you have to stretch your fingers out, which obviously you do if you have small hands on bass because of the wider neck or the longer scale length. The more you stretch your fingers out, the less strength you have. It's more tiring on your hand. So being able to do this one and hitting that fourth fret, just really tiring for me. And then that's still pretty tough for me to do at the second fret. So we have essentially a pattern that's going to come back a lot in this one, which is basically a root third fifth, essentially a major chord. So you want to be really comfortable with those. And then this one, what do we got? So you might want to, you know, look at your fretboard for that part quickly, and then so I kind of know what that is ahead of time. So you want to be prepared for that octave part. And then this part here, same thing. We have that one little change up. So this one here that throws me every once in a while just because it's a slightly different pattern in the sense of it goes up and then it goes down versus the other parts kind of jumpy. So this part here, 3 4 1 2, a little bit tricky, and you have to do a position shift. I mean, if you have big enough hands you can stretch, go nuts, but I certainly don't. That's pretty tough. So I do a position shift. Let's see what else do we got here. Yep, same concepts. That position shift there, and then change up. Again, it's taxing for my left hand to be able to do that. So, yeah, and that's pretty much it. So there's that one. But not that hard once you get it down. It's only level 6 and an easier level 6. I was going through other bass songs last night, and there are some level 6 songs that took me like 20 runs or more just to get down. Whereas this one, it didn't take me that long to get to gold star the whole thing. Whereas there's some other level 6 ones. And again, I'm still working on bass playing. I'm more a guitar player, and I'm just trying to improve my bass playing now. But there's some songs that are just like, yep, they're pretty tough in the sense of for a level 6 song. For me, I should say. So if you wanted to look at, really tough songs. And this is sort of shows you what's weird about what you consider difficult and what isn't difficult. Like this one here, what level is it? It's probably like one of the highest level ones in the entire app on the bass side. It's level 13, and I can't gold star it yet, and nobody has, but I actually found this easier to remember, even though it's stupid. It's just ridiculously hard. Like my hand is tired. Both hands are kind of pretty tired when I finish doing this. But as far as memorizing it, I'm finding it easier to memorize this one. Probably because I've practiced so many scale patterns. But it doesn't seem like a whole lot of people are having much success with this one. Like for example, if you look at TK Linga's score, he hasn't gold starred this one yet. It's that difficult, and to be fair, it's more of a guitar line than it is a bass line, by any means. But I guess that's why I find it easier to remember it, because it's more it's kind of guitar oriented. So anyway, I'll do a really crappy run of it just because it'll probably be entertaining to see me completely destroy this one in the sense of not playing it well. Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. But I'm working on it. I'm trying to be able to get to this point. But yeah, it's not really a bass song. It's more like a guitar part that they just, just slammed on the bass. So this is going to be ugly. You will prepare for lots of reds. Stupid difficult.
Well done. You can continue to the next exercise.
I added a tiny little bit to my score there, so not a bad run. But yeah, that's not really a bass line. I mean, it can be in the right genre, I should say. Like in the right genre of music, it could be played on bass. But traditional stuff, it's not really a bass line, but it's just ridiculously stupid. So anyway, Lex, haven't seen you in the stream in a while, so thanks for coming out. Unfortunately, I am wrapping it because I have a recital rehearsal to go to. So yeah, that's the reason why I had to start this stream early, and I have to cut it short, unfortunately. So thanks for coming out, guys. It was pretty fun. I actually liked, even though there's been a little bit of, whining to this week's challenge by some people in the Yousician Facebook group. I kind of like these songs. Even the easy stuff, I kind of like just the feel of playing them. Like even the bass ones, I kind of enjoyed playing them. So yeah, maybe I'm in the minority, but I like them. Anyway, yeah. So that's pretty much it for today. So if you haven't joined the Yousician Facebook group, there's a link in the description, and basically it's just a whole bunch of people that play Yousician, and they, if you have any questions and whatnot, you can go in there and people are pretty friendly and pretty helpful there for any questions that you have. If you haven't been to my website, alexisnery.com, check that out and subscribe, and you can get a free ebook. There is also a link in the description as well. But my name, alexisnery.com, pretty easy. Yeah, so sorry about having to bolt, and sorry about the change in time, but like I said, I have some rehearsals to go to. Thanks for coming out. We'll be doing this next week, so again, subscribe to the channel as well as the newsletter on my website, and you can be, if there are any time changes, there'll be it's a great way to be up on all the events and whatnot. As well as my Facebook page, or even in the Yousician Facebook group. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Thanks for coming out.